Hello everybody and welcome to the Red Bull Ring for rounds 8 and 9 of the Indy series here at the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan. It's the cancer awareness at the ring here tonight. Myself, Ian Leary, and Cam Roger taking you through the action. 18 laps in race 1, 33 in race 2. The normal 2-race format remains and returns, Cam, after a quite unbelievable oval race 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that finish, I'm still like giggling thinking about it now. Your reaction was just amazing. Henrik Lindorff flying across the finish line there. What a finish, what a final lap for some oval action in this road course series. But of course, we come back to a bit of normality with a normal Grand Prix track today.
We do, yes. I'll never forget it. I've got to be honest. It's round 8 and 9 today, as I say. In 2 weeks in time, we'll be heading to Lagos, and then we're back to Indianapolis again, but this time for the road course to end our season on December 12th. These are the championship standings. Despite flying through the air, Henrik Lindorff is still leading the championship by 16 points. Ahead of Oliver Hagström Viggersjö had a great day and moved up ahead of Edvin Forsund and Oscar Fredriksson, who will now be relying on their drop weeks a little bit. Those not applied yet, by the way, in these standings. We're waiting to do that until the final parts of the season. Daniel Holmer rounds out the top 5 with Robin Östlund now the first driver over a race wins distance from the lead. Melvin Akesson got overtaken by Östlund in the last round. Ivan Lundholm, Jesper Eriksson and Cedric Harnbom round out the top 10 in the Indy Series this season. 6 minutes to go in qualifying, and as things stand, it is Mikael Sundström who is at the top of the standings, although everybody's only done 1 lap time. And when I say everybody, actually not that many have only done 1 lap time yet. We've still got a long, long way to go indeed, but it was a very important round last time around, and as I say, some didn't take the start. Edvin Forsund, for example, has got a 0 next to his name now because he's not been at all the rounds so far. Robin Östlund has missed 2 races so far, so he'll rocket up the standings when the drop weeks are applied as well. There's still a lot to be worked out here in this series with 6 rounds to go, 6 races I should say to go.
Oh, definitely, and that was certainly a bit of a difference there back at the oval race, but I guess the drivers will be just getting themselves sort of reignited with this road course version of the car, something slightly different. We have the different tyres, we've got different strategy coming into it as well. And I should say, when the drop scores finally all get applied, it's going to be very interesting how that one works itself out. Maybe some drivers will be taking that oval, of course, as their drop score, but maybe some will be shooting up the table. It's going to be a fun one to the end of the season. And you and I wonder if you agree with me, but I think it's pretty cool to see IndyCars on the style of tracks like this as well, which isn't the normal American vibe. It's quite a bit different, you know, the Formula 1 tracks.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well. They are we've already seen this at Silverstone, haven't we? It was good racing there, I thought, and I'd imagine it will be the same here as well. We're into Lagos in 2 weeks' time as well. I guess that's the sort of same feeling, a little bit more Grand Prix style, because I think he's underappreciated a little bit in motorsport, actually, just how specific and different some American tracks can be, especially like Barber Motorsports Park and Belle Isle and Indianapolis we've got here. They're very American-specific circuits. We haven't really got anything like that in Europe, and as a result, Indy cars don't really race on them anymore because they don't go around the world anymore. So I agree. I think it is interesting to see cars going around here. Hopefully it provides good racing, because I think Silverstone did deliver for rounds 3 and 4 earlier this season.
Yes, certainly did. And in general, this season has been pretty interesting. It's been up and down, actually, with some teams and drivers being vastly different speeds at a different style of tracks. One who was actually quite interesting in the last round was this team with Manson, of course, nearly on pace. They got the teammate Sundström up towards the top. And they seem to be, obviously, got Hagström Viggersjö as well, the 8-11 down 7th place. They're actually working their way up towards the front. And quite a few of these races now, there's Manson going up into 3rd place now. They are nearly on pace and nearly on definitely a pole position today too.
Yeah, 3rd for Manson so far. In fact, 2 of the top 3 are in pit lane at the moment. Mikael Sundström is not improving on this lap time, but Robin Östlund certainly is in the number 90. What can he do over the line? It's going to be an improvement, and it is up to 6th, ahead of Forsund and Oliver Hagström Viggersjö, who has dropped down to 8th in this qualifying session. He, of course, is up there in the championship, as we've just seen. Daniel Holmer is as well. He's 11th, though, in this session. He is improving right now as well, though. Good season for him so far. At 5 or fifth position, I should say, 2 top 5s, which is the least actually of anyone inside the top 6. But either way, just 46 points off the championship lead is still a lot of points available here. I'm not sure what the maximum is you can get, but you can certainly get about 300 if you do well. So it's very much still up for grabs here. Holmer doesn't improve there though. Final sector must have not been quite as strong.
Yeah, as ever, we do see some decent field spread over the course of the whole field. As he's clearly not happy with that one, sending his car into the wall. 2 minutes to go in the session, but look how close it is up towards the front. 2 tenths covering the top 5. Maybe they even really a quarter of a second for the top 6 now as Forsund goes up into 6th place for the 27 machine. So some fast time still coming in, and it's going to be so close up towards the front. Then, of course, we do have the sprint race first, and then we have a pit stop in that second race where the strategy will be very important indeed. Fairly long race as well, 33 laps for the feature race. Jesper Eriksson, can he jump up just a little bit further? Yes, he can. One more position.
Yep, that second row, just jumping ahead of Alexander Olsen, who hasn't really improved since he set that time to put him in the top 5. He is still 5th, at least, in the section. Jock Frist is going okay. He's actually going the best of those in the top 10 at the moment in terms of improving right now in the number 25. Can he maybe work his way forward? He needs at least a couple of attempts to even gain 1 place here, and he's not managed it. It's a 15.6 from him. He will stay in 9th, and it looks like we've got very little improvement going on up and down the field now, so it looks like Mikko Sundström is going to be okay to take pole. I think Henrik Lindhoff will be pleased with that, though. He is missing out on a point for not getting pole, but that's fine. He's up in 2nd place. He's up out of trouble. That's the important thing.
Absolutely. For the championship leader as well, you just need some solid results, and especially for these guys, actually, with the top 20 being reversed, you want to be getting your points in this first race today. So for those championship contenders, that is a big one to secure a nice top 5 finish. That'd be what they're aiming for when we get to the sprint race to start the evening. As we're going to see Viju come across the line with a 14.6. That's a solid lap time. That should be moving him up at least a place. Yep, up into 7th.
7th place, but less than a quarter of a second off pole. Remarkably close at the top of the standings. I didn't think that was actually going to be an improvement for him, but clearly he did get some pace on right at the very end. This is Edvin Forsund, who is going okay at the moment. Not convinced this is going to be an improvement either, but we'll see in the final 20 seconds. I mean, he's not going to get to the line before the time expires, but anyway. Meanwhile, sorry, I missed that. Mikko Sundström just went even faster. My goodness, that was quick. 1:14.1 from him. That's got. I mean, it probably was pole before. It's definitely pole now. He's over 3 tenths quicker than anybody else.
Certainly. Big lap at the end there for the 899 machine, and that is a statement. We're just talking about how close it is, and then to go another 3 tenths faster, that is really quite something. As we come out onto the grid, he's going to be there on that front row.
Certainly is. He's had a difficult season so far. He's 19th in the standings, but he's on pole here. He's certainly on the pace. In first place is Mikko Sundström. He's alongside Henrik Lindhoff with Albin Manson on the other side. Jesper Eriksson is on the outside 4th place for Simray Sweden. Then it's the Simray Sweden Academy 3rd row with Alexander Olsen and Edvin Forsland. 7th place is Oliver Hagström Vigers, who's ahead of Robin Ostlund. Then it's Jock Frist and Tony Uvenen running out the top 10. Cedric Holmbaum and Daniel Holm are just outside of it, and they're just over a second off of pole as well. Nicholas Helm is 13th ahead of Peter Helmbro with Hackenschott and Kalle Wallingström in the 8th row. Christopher Dahlström and Oscar Motin are on row 9 ahead of Jonas Sjöberg and Kenneth Tier, who's sponsoring this race, the Cancer Awareness at the Ring, here tonight. It is 21st for Kasper Björk with Linus Hellberg in 22nd. Robert Eriksson and Björn Broström over 2 seconds off pole with Anders Carlson and Philip Hahn next. Magnus Hagman and Oliver Warren, I would suggest, probably haven't set representative times there. Marcus still hasn't set a time at all, and he will start 29th if indeed he gets onto the grid at all. So they line up on the grid. Looks like we might well get a full formation lap here, so plenty of time until the race gets underway. 18 laps as it will be. Probably not much, not any longer than 25 minutes, so it's a very short circuit, don't forget. And so the laps are going to be rattled on by very quickly indeed. No tyre changing, as you can see in the bottom right there. There will be a tyre change in the 33-lap second race, but as you mentioned, I think that second line is probably the most important. Top 20 reversed for race 2, and that's the race that all the top contenders tend to worry about, and everybody has been tripped up by so far. Henrik Lindhoff finished in the second race at Barber all the way down in 20th place at at the last double round we did as well at Belle, he finished in 19th. Even Lindhoff at the top of the point standings has had difficult second races because of the reverse grid.
Yes, 29 cars, 20 being reversed, 2/3 of the field. Unheard of, really. In most cases, it's maybe 10%, 25%. But yeah, this is 2/3. It's pretty crazy. But what it means is you have to be able to overtake and work your way to the front in that second race to get yourself up there in the championship. So it's not just about people who can qualify and then lead from the front. You do have to work hard for it over the course of the season. What it does do as well is it allows some people a little bit further back, maybe have a bad qualifying, such as Marcus Hagman, Oliver Bohlin, even the likes of Marcus Stiller, who seems to not like qualifying. He basically starts at the back in every event that we do by choice. Those people can then jump up into the top 20, reverse to the front, and then try and hold on to a second, a good result in the second race. So it's definitely an interesting format of how that one works. And also, Ewan, I've just been seeing there's a few drivers on the primary tyres towards the front there, a couple of the nearly on pace cars. So a bit of strategy coming in even in the sprint race.
That's something we don't see very often at all. We'll get into that during the race, of course, because I'm sure it will play a big factor. But actually, on that, race 2 business of somebody unusual winning, I would actually suggest that maybe it's not that unusual, or you can tell me which of the two eventualities you think it is. Edwin Forsland, Robin Austin and Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö have all won the 3 reverse grid races so far. Hagström-Viggersjö is in second place in the standing, Forsland is in third, and Ausland is in 6th. So are they in the top 10 because they won those races and got the full 50 points, or are they just good drivers who were able to win the second race? I can't quite decide.
Yeah, that's true. I guess those who actually start on those front few rows in the reverse grid being, P20 on pace, they probably drop back a little bit so the fast drivers can still come through and win. But they can still get a decent result, at least, or at least they have the opportunity to. Today, though, I think with all the straights around this circuit, there's going to be a lot of chance for slipstream, a lot of chance for push to pass and trying to find a way through. So it might be a bit more difficult. But that is obviously for a few moments' time. We have the sprint race first. No strategy, just straight fight to the end. And we do have, by the looks of it, Sundström in the 899 on the primary tyres at the front. An interesting choice with a bunch of fast cars in behind.
Very interesting indeed. With the red stripes on the outside line, you can see that's the normal choice of tyre around the sprint races. However, today might just be a little bit different. Underway here at the Cancer Awareness at the Ring here for round 8 of the Polish Svenska Eracingligan Indy Series here in 2024, and Mikael Sundström gets off to a good start in towards turn 1. He's followed through by his teammate Albin Mansson, past Lindhoff already, and here comes Jesper Eriksson on the slipstream as well on the way towards turn number 3. The 2 Academy cars go side by side further back, but it's the top 4 who remain single file, apart from Lindhoff, who has a look at the inside though. He stays in third place, down 1 from the start.
Yeah, what a start that was for Manson. Important to follow his teammate in behind as well. There's a car way off at the first corner. I think it might have been Kenneth Tier, the sponsor for today's race. Unfortunately, he's gone way to the back of the pack and needs to be continuing on. We're side by side a little bit further back though as well. I think that's Tony Uvinen on the inside. Cars going off into the gravel. That's causing a bit of a concertina effect. And unfortunately, just dropping down the way as Helmbrand makes place.
That was all very close, so that they avoid crashes. I think mostly we have avoided incidents on this opening sector of the lap, but what about the middle sector? Firing down the inside there in towards turn number 7 was who was that just up ahead of these guys at the moment? Not sure, but this is just outside the top 10. Robin Austin, meanwhile, makes up a place on Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö as well. They're going side by side just for the bottom of your pictures as Viggersjö gets back through again. As into the pit lane comes Tony Uvinen here, rather gingerly as well. That's the first stop of the day.
Yeah, it must have been some sort of full start, something like that. He's coming down already as look at this pack up towards the front. We're 2 by 2 by 2. The 3 teams up towards the front, nearly on pace, dropping back. That is Manson, who of course got up into second place. Maybe have a slowdown on the exit of turn 1. That's 3 cars that are going to go past him. Lindhoff, Eriksson and Forsland as well. Is he able to hold on from Olsen? He is, but 5th place. That is an important situation for his race. And up towards the front, but already getting Lindhoff going for the race lead.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there for Manson at all. Now he's under pressure from Olsen, just in towards turn number 4. And he, stays ahead. Olsen and Viggersjö again going side by side. Robin Olsen makes his way through. Cedric Holmbomb's up to the top 10 as well, as the leaders do get close through the middle sector. These are the 2 left-handers at turns 6 and 7. And then they make their way into the final sector, where you've got to be really careful of track limits, of course. Here comes Lindhoff, looking to the inside. He's going to be squeezed right to the inside if he's going to make it, but he breaks very late, and he is through. Sundström will try and come back him into the final corner, but no, he can't. And is this the primary starting to play a role? Lindhoff goes through and gets into the lead of this race.
But let's see how this works in a few laps' time. However, for now, it's going to be 2 places lost. Ericsson comes through his own towards turn 1. As Sundström tries to hold on, it's going to be another place lost. He really is just going backwards at this moment in time. Even his teammate probably is going to come through. So your pole driver losing 4 positions in the space of 2 corners.
And is this turning into an error for Sundström? It was pole position by miles earlier on, but all of a sudden he is starting to struggle, slides on the exit of turn 3 as well. And Evin Bohlin gets very close, meanwhile, to Jesper Eriksson on the way towards turn 3, but the 4 I should say, but the sort of teammates are not going to battle with each other there. This is what happened in towards turn 1. Hakan's shot went for a spin. Oh my goodness. Well, we've had quite enough of cars flying in the air recently, and that was another example of it. In towards the exit of turn number 1. In live pictures, Lindhoff is being given a ticket to the race win, surely, as Eriksson makes a very long-winded re-overtake of Evin Bohlin here, and Manson doesn't really know where to go. Looks up the inside, maybe to the middle, inside again, not quite. Here goes Bohlin. He is through indeed into second place.
And up the inside into the final corner for Manson. That's going to allow Forsen to hold on to that second place as well. Unfortunately, Manson has to back out of that one. In behind as well, Sundström is losing out potentially to Jocke Frisk, who's coming in, and also Östlund. So this could be a big moment in the race for the driver on the primary tyres, who's really going backwards. Maybe in the final 5 laps he'll have some speed, but it doesn't look like it as he's absolutely sent it over the curve. Frisk comes through, and his teammate Manson to the outside now, up towards turn number 3. Can he make it stick around the outside? Very difficult to do so, as the hill's not quite in your favour and he has to go wide.
Yep, Manson doesn't get through, and Eriksson in the end, and Sundström does lose a place to Jocke Frisk as well. He was out wide on the curb, going up and down like a pogo stick there, and he's dropped down to 6th place. Robin Östlund is on the charge as well. He's now looking up the inside. That was late braking, and he's got through, I think, in towards 6th place. Well, no, clearly not. He's not quite managed. Oh, he might have had a small problem because he's very slow out the corner as well. Oliver Hagström, big as you would say, thank you very much, and he makes up that 1 position to get into 7th.
I wonder if he just went too deep, maybe just touched the gravel on the outside. And previously, a couple laps ago, we saw a similar move. It was actually Nicholas Helm. Let's see this, though. Goes up the inside. Oh, no, contact is not made, but he does go deep. He touches the grass, and that is why he effectively lost that extra place as well, with Vigju getting past.
Yep, so that's a good gain for the 8-11 as we go back to a battle just on the fringe of the top 10. Lots of pit stops have happened, by the way. We haven't told you about all of them. We saw the one for Tony Uvenin, but Hakan Schott, Kalle Wallenstrom, Jonas Sjöberg and Oliver Wallin have all been in on this last lap. I would imagine most, if not all, were involved in that turn 1 incident we saw a few moments ago with cars going into the air and all sorts. We've actually got a few more than that in pit lane as well, other than the ones I've just told you about. Robert Eriksson, Philip Hahn is there as well. So 6 stoppers, though Wallingstrom's back out there again. It has been a little bit more chaotic further down as a result of that lap 1, or turn 1 I should say, incident that we saw a little bit earlier on, as Peter Helmbro meanwhile gets alongside Nicholas Helm here on the way towards turn 4. Sundström's being overtaken by Hagström, Vigaju and Östlund as well. There's a lot going on at the moment. That's though the change for 10th, and Peter Helmbro is now into the top 10.
Everyone's feeling so racy in these opening few laps, really trying to make some positions where possible, and it's been a good start to the race actually in these first 5 laps of 18, and so far this is what we are seeing. As you say, Nicholas Helm just dropped outside of the top 10, Helmbro getting past, and that is Cedric Holmbohm in the number 10 machine just up ahead of them as well. So Helmbro might be able to just sneak himself another position. Unfortunately, they've dropped off a good few seconds from that top 8 of those the fast train up towards the front, who've really started to pull away despite their battling. And as we come on to the next lap, is there going to be a place for Helmbro to try and find a way past, because it looks like he is the fastest of this pack at the moment.
Yeah, just at the front of a group that I thought we'd be seeing a little bit more of, actually, as in thought we'd have more groups like this, as it's side by side for 2nd, Eriksson and Forsen side by side for 10th as well, as Helmbro doesn't know which way to look, and Holmbohm doesn't know which way to look, as Helmbro is the one weaving around on a very tight line and on his way through. Nicholas Helm just in behind trying to gain an advantage, although he's not probably going to, with the 2 going side by side up ahead of him. It's going to be inside line for Holmbohm, although Helmbro just with his nose ahead. Late on the brakes from Helmbro. Oh, it's close between the two of them here, and Helmbro does get through on the inside line. Oh, be careful, making contact. Holmbom shoved to the outside line. That was aggressive from Helmbro, and Nicholas Helm now tries to go through on the outside line. We'll see if he can do. This would be impressive. Round the outside of two left-handers in a row. He's still there though, and he'll be on the inside for the next one. Great overtake. Nicholas Helm into the top 10 as Holmbom's lost some of his front wing.
Yeah, contact was made. The 10 is losing now half of its front wing. That's going to be a massive understeer struggle for the end of the race if he's going to hold on to that. And that's such a big shame around here. He's already going wide at the first two corners he does as he learns the new balance of the car. And he might be losing another position here now as well, as that is Dan Holmer, his sister teammate, who's now really up the back of him as well, trying to hold on, of course, to the car in behind of Oscar Motin. But I think this will be move done for Holmer as they come up the hill. I don't think the 10 machine is going to be batting this one too much against his sister teammate.
I think he'll be focusing on finishing in the top 20. That will be the big focus here. That's quite late on the brakes from Holmer. And Holmer, oh dear, he doesn't know where to go, and he goes straight into the side of the driver just behind, which was Oscar Motin in the 94. He's made up 5 places so far, by the way, about to be 6 as he heads through into 12th place. So good overtake from him, but Holmbom's focus surely has got to be 20th place now, and he's got some time to lose before he's worried about dropping outside of that top 20.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, you need to keep inside that reverse grid positions to at least hold on to some potentially strong points in that second race. But look at the cars training up behind as well. Everyone's staying fairly close in this race so far. As we saw in qualifying, the pace is very, very close and very tight between the whole field. Although Holmbom, I mean, he really can't keep up, is he? He must be losing 2-3 seconds a lap at this point. That's not going to be working out. He's now got Kasper Bjork in the 129 all over the back of him.
Yeah, this is very close on the way towards turn number 1. Just in behind Motin here. Bjork and Hellberg surely will be going through very quickly. Don't know if Bjork has got through, can't see, but it looks like he has as far as the timing screen is concerned. Holmbom dropping down a place then. And Hellberg will surely do the same very shortly as well, but yeah, oh dear, he's lost some of his rear wing now as well. This is turning into a bit of a Formula Ford moment, I'm afraid, for Holmbom now, who will be very much wishing this race away now, hoping that it ends sooner rather than later, but we're not even halfway just yet.
And the car behind him, the 404, has also lost part of his front wing. So definitely some collisions out there. That's Linus Hellberg. So these two cars, they're going around there, as you say, almost like Formula 4s. Surely he's not going to be able to make these corners. He's going to have to come into the pit lane. Still some half-decent speed. Let's see this once again. So it was just a bit of a squeeze front and rear, and that is where the extra contact was made from the 404. Lovely slow-mo shot there as we go into the speedway setting like we were a couple of weeks ago.
And now he's coming in. Holmbom deciding that this is going to go a bit quicker if he comes in and takes a pit stop. So, not sure I agree, but anyway, Dahlstrand and Stiller will now go through. And surely there was no hope of him finishing inside the top 20 anyway, so he comes into pit lane. Kenneth Cheer currently, by the way, is 20th place and would currently be on pole if the race were to end right now. This is the battle for 5th place. Jokfrisch side by side with Oliver Hagström, because he was starting to settle into this race. He got off to a bit of a shaky start, but this will be his second position gained on the day. Feels like more, of course, because he went backwards initially. Now, though, moves up to the top 5. Very important pass indeed.
I don't know why they went on the primary tyres, because it's both Vishu here and then also Sundström in behind. They've lost 8 seconds now to the lead. I think this was a big mistake by the nearly on pace team to go onto the primary tyres here. They, of course, could have done the alternates. Maybe they'll be slightly faster in the final laps, but they're not going to gain back those 8 seconds. I would be very surprised from what we've seen so far this season. So maybe this is a bad mistake, but they need to hold on to these positions. The issue is they got some fast drivers there, Frisk and Osland, coming in the middle of them as it stands, as we come on to lap number 10. But the top 4, they've completely gone.
They have, more importantly, Henrik Lindhoff at the front has gone completely. 2.7 seconds at the head of the field. And he's got the space now to maybe go for fastest lap as well, though Robin Osland currently holds that point at the moment. Oh dear, this is weaving around for Frisk. Thought he was going to fire down the inside. In his backing out of that move, he very nearly fired himself over the back of the 811 there, but he broke just in time. Just behind him is Robin Austin, then Mikael Sundström, who's at least staying with these guys now, but I'm still yet to see the benefit, and I'm still yet to see the vision that he's going to roar through and pass everyone here on the other tyres. He must have put them on by mistake.
Considering there's two of them, though, I think it was a team decision. Having said that, their other driver, Manson, did not, and he's up the road by 5 seconds and still on the back of the three Sim Race Sweden cars. So there's definitely some pace in this team, though, and they are working their way to the front of this championship. They're a very hotly contested championship. In behind, though, we are going to be seeing a move as Austin goes up the inside in that yellow machine. Frisk must have had a bad run there, coming through the two left-handers in the middle sector, and unfortunately he's lost a place.
Indeed. So Austin through into 6th place. That's exactly where he is in the championship. Overtook Moven Akson last round, and as I say, he's missed 2 rounds. So missed 2 races, I should say. He wasn't at the Bob Motorsports Park round, so when those drop weeks are written off next time we go racing, we'll have more detail on that. But he could well be right up towards the front, as here goes Sundström. Now finally are those primary tyres just coming into their own, but I still think it's too late. But anyway, we'll park that just for the moment. Sundström's got a good run, and he's got to try and use it now. Down the inside he'll go into 7th place, and that's only the first step in a very long road to recovery now for the pole sitter.
Absolutely, and this is getting a very tight battle on the exit off 4, squeezing each other as Sundström is trying to hold the inside line, coming up to 6, and he is going to be getting that position so far. So Frisk dropping down to P8, and maybe this is a bit of a resurgence. We'll have to see, although they've lost a good second, or over a second actually, to his teammate up ahead, and Austin, who's now got through.
Yep. It's the battle for 5th place overall, of course, but sort of split into 2 now between these 2 pairings, although you'd imagine Sundström will be able to get away from Frisk and maybe back on to these 2 just up ahead. Lap 12 just begins, so 7 still to go in this race, and we'll quieten down now a little bit. Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö is going to be in a big battle with Robin Austin here to try and keep him behind, and there are points on the line here, but back here, of course, so it is very important indeed for him to stay ahead. Same for Sundström, though he manages it fairly easily. Late on the brakes from Viggersjö, who goes a little bit deep actually, and Austin is maybe going to have a chance into turn 4.
Yeah, I think he might do. He's getting the slipstream probably on the button as well, trying to find a way through. He's going to the outside, though. That's not always their best place to make the overtake, but you can slow them down on the run up towards turn 5. Just has to back out of that one, though. Fortunately, just slightly got the timing wrong and drops back a car length from that. Still has the pace, though, up towards the next corner at 6. As he's definitely looking very fast indeed. A race winner so far this season. This is the only battle to focus on. The top 4 have got away by 6 seconds now as the laps are counting down. I think he should be able to find his way through at some point. Just needs to put the car in the right place.
Yeah, he does, but he's not going to be let through by any means here. As things stand, he would lose 20 points, would Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö to Henrik Lindhoff. That would increase the margin to 36, which is fantastic news for Henrik Lindhoff at the very front of this field, as he's possibly on his way to a 3rd win this season. Through turn 1, is it a good enough run from the 811? It looks like it. Austin looks a bit too far back to me to be making any kind of lunge here, but he is getting closed in on by Sundström, and he'll have that feeling of urgency, I suppose, knowing that he's being caught from behind. He knows that this pass for 5th has to happen soon, otherwise he'll have to be defending more than attacking pretty shortly.
Absolutely. Just up ahead, we're seeing a battle as we're seeing Manson trying to get onto the podium. Forston's holding that place right now, the 27 machine, but the 127 in behind wants that extra place. Oh, they're moving around all over the track, trying to get up the inside for Manson, but not this time around. We can work our way through the double left-handed sequence and corners, especially the second one. Bit of banking in there. He can really take a lot of speed. Can he use that momentum up the hill? No, he's actually lost time through that sequence of corners and needs to regroup.
Yeah, he will do in these final couple of corners. Very fast right-handers, of course, where track limits are really just a suggestion. It's fine. Everyone just runs wide, and so that's just how it is. But anyway, put some grass there, for goodness sake. Anyway, in towards turn number 1, they go again. Forsund ahead of Manson. There's just a bit of lap traffic up ahead here, by the way, that they're going to have to deal with. Ericsson's trying to deal with it currently, so wonder whether that will be a roll. Of course, lots of drivers, as I mentioned before, have pitted so far, so we've got Wellington, Sjöberg, Bohlin and Hahn all riding around multiple laps down and maybe getting in the way. We'll see.
Indeed, that could always have quite big consequences, actually. Potentially, we saw that actually last night as well, and the Formula 4 eSports similar cars, drivers rejoining and things like that. As Manson gets close to the outside, but wasn't quite able to work his way through. We've seen a couple of drivers get in that situation. They get on that outside line in turn 4, but you really have to get to the inside to make the move, as here we are going to see potentially some traffic getting involved here, slowing down the 27. Is he going to be able to work his way up the inside at turn 9? Actually out of the way goes Harner. Not enough to disrupt and help Manson get through here through the final couple of corners.
It's quite good from the lap traffic just to get out of the way, and Manson's missed the apex a little bit there. The final corner, but it doesn't matter. Oh, Bohlin does a huge slide, and has he kept it out the wall? It looks like he might have just managed to stay on the circuit, but goodness me, that was a moment through the final corner. He catches it, he saves the car, but he loses third, and now he's hit Hahn. Hahn was all over the curb there, right in front of a car on the lead lap, and now Bohlin has hit him. He'll be hoping there's not much damage there.
That was a very awkward sequence of events. Of course, Harner kind of had to go past into turn 1 because of the momentum, but then he made a mistake, went onto the anti-cut, and unfortunately Bohlin was not able to avoid. He's now lost, obviously, that position to Manson. He's now lost time as well, and if he has damage, this battle might come back into him. Yeah, way too deep there for Harner, and Bohlin coming at full speed, just not enough time, and there's definitely some damage on that car, so he's going to be slower. And he's really going to be looking in his mirrors for that three-way battle from Vigshu, Ostland and Sundström.
He said that Hahn almost didn't have any chance to go through there. I've got to say I would disagree. I don't think there was any reason for him to go past there and then bobble himself over the curb straight in front of a driver in 4th place. But anyway, that's done now. It doesn't look like Bohlin has got bad damage, but he might have done. He is losing time to the leader, nearly 8 seconds now, the gap. Not really sure what he was doing there in towards turn 1, but anyway, he's...
Yeah, it was a bit of indecision, I think. And then that's obviously what didn't help the braking zone as well, going in there too deep. So, yeah, just a bit of a calamity of errors.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it doesn't cost Bohlin too much, because he is losing time. Oliver Hagström-Vigersjö is leading the charge with Robin Ostland and Mikko Sundström, who I am still maintaining selected those by accident. This can't have been a plan, otherwise it's a fatally misguided plan anyway. To throw away a pole position with such a strong qualifying is really quite bizarre, but I guess there'll be positives to take for the second race, which he's got to be one of the favourites for.
Yeah, because there isn't some rule like if you use the hard T, you can do double alternate in the other race. That's not a thing, is it? I think you have to use both compounds. So yeah, I think it is just a mistake. Yeah, they clearly, obviously, maybe had some issues with the practice, got some wrong data, and went down the wrong path.
Well, the thing is, if you lined these 18 laps up on your own, you just hot lapped 18 laps, the primaries might be quicker, maybe, but you've got to overtake people if you're on the primaries, because you're going to get overtaken if everyone else on the alternate. So if you've not factored that in, then I can see why you'd make the error, because at the moment a lot of his problem has been stuck in traffic, especially when it took him a little while to pass Frisk, and now it's taking him ages to pass these two as well. This is all costing him time.
Yeah, I think the reason why he's got stuck in that traffic and he's been in these battles is because he's not fast enough, because he's on the slower tyre. So it's definitely something that they need to look at for the remaining couple of rounds of the season. Especially, next time out we go to Interlagos, where it's a similar sort of Grand Prix circuit as well. So I'm sure the tyre wear factor will be fairly similar. So definitely need to look into that. Because with the majority of the field going one way, it's always a weird one when you see someone stick out. If it's 50-50 up and down the grid, then I'd understand maybe they just slightly went the wrong way. But when it's 95% of the field go alternate, you can generally work out which one's better.
It's not often a great sign when you're the only one doing something in a race. It could be. You could be the genius of the year, but the chances are you're in for a red-faced day, I'm afraid, and it looks like Sundström is going to be 7th at the end here with the white flag waves now. Henrik Lindhoff has gone got 3.5 seconds over Jesper Eriksson, and it's been a very good drive indeed from the championship leader. Exactly what he needed. Started second, actually went backwards to third. Don't forget, early on in this race, it wasn't a good start at all, but he passed Manson and Sundström quickly, efficiently, and he's going to win this race by some distance.
Yeah, lovely race from the championship leaders. We're going to get side by side, maybe. No, the drivers back out of this. As actually, I just noticed Holmbaum's in the pit. Of course, oh yeah, because he had the extra damage with the rear wing, didn't he? As he's still in there. But yeah, this is the 404 who had the contact with Hellberg, and he's trying to still salvage something of a result in this race so far. Of course, he's still trying to hold at these positions, but as they come out onto the white flag in the background, we are going to see further drivers losing some positions, unfortunately. In the background, there's not quite some drivers having the race that they would have wanted.
Meanwhile, Henrik Lindhoff is in these final couple of corners. His third race win of the season. Nobody else has even doubled up yet. This is turning into quite the season for Henrik Lindhoff. With 5 races to go, he takes charge in the Indy series of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan here at the Red Bull Ring. He wins race 1 of the Cancer Awareness at the Ring at Grand Prix here this afternoon, and that was a dominant drive. 3.9 seconds his advantage at the line.
Yeah, even when Eriksson got through into second place, he wasn't able to do anything about that gap. In fact, it actually went up. So Lindhoff has some great pace today, as we're going to see Dan Holmer coming across the line in 11th place. And I'm looking out for the all-important P20. Who is going to get there? Looks like it might be Tony Uvelen as it stands. And Marcus Hagström, who will be on that front row. Marcus Hagström, of course, starting towards the back. That is going to be a good opportunity for him to get some points. Also, Tony Uvelen, who had to go through the pit lane a little bit earlier. This is Kenneth Tier, who we're watching getting that overtake done on Carlson into turn 1 at the beginning of that final lap, but he's not able to get Hellberg as they come up towards the line. So Hellberg will finish P16 with half a front wing.
Indeed, and he'll start 5th as well for the second race. Perhaps more importantly, Kenneth Tier does recover from 29th, where he was at the end of the opening sector of the race, to finish in 17th. It's a great finish for the Bright Esports driver, and indeed the sponsor of this race, as we've said. So a good finish for him. Looks like everybody has just about finished. And indeed, the 21 drivers that finished on the lead lap have battled it out for those top 20 positions. As you'll see, Henrik Lindhoff wins the race ahead of Jesper Eriksson in a sim race. Sweden 1-2. Albin Manson finishes third ahead of Edvin Forsund, who survives a scare towards the end. Oliver Hagström figures you couldn't quite get to him, although he does pick up a top 5 ahead of Robin Östlund, who finishes 6th ahead of Polster, Mikael Sundström, Jörg Frist, Peter Helmbro, and Niklas Helm round out the top 10. And these are the guys, of course, that positions won't change very much for the next race. Daniel Holmer is going to finish 11th here ahead of Oscar Motin. Kasper Bjork is 13th, ahead of Marcus Stiller and Christopher Dahlström, the 2 Clutch Club racing drivers. Just outside the top 15 is Linus Hellberg, holding off Kenneth Tier at the end, as we just saw. Anders Carlson, Magnus Hagman, and Tony Uvenen round out the top 20, with Björn Broström just missing out. Colin Wallenström got out after 2 laps to finish the race. Cedric Holmbaum pitted late on, finished 6 down. Jonas Sjöberg was 7 down, with Oliver Wallin, Alexander Olsen and Philip Hahn were 10 down, although Hahn did get out the pit lane for the last lap. And Robert Eriksson and Hakan Schott only completed 3 laps. So that is the opening race here of the Cancer Awareness at the Ring. Round 8 and 9, I should say, of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan Indy Series. Race 2 is coming up in a few moments' time. 33 laps still to come here tonight. We'll be back in a moment. for the Red Bull Ring, that is, for rounds 8 and 9 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan Indy Series. It's the Cancer Awareness at the ring here tonight. Two more rounds to go after this one, of course. Make sure you join us in 2 weeks' time for the Interlagos Grand Prix and then the IndyCar final from Indianapolis on the 12th of December. Myself, Ewan O'Leary and Cam Roger will be taking you through the season as we have been. And it was a good opening race, Cam, but race 2 is where things really kick off, as we said. And things can get very unpredictable indeed. Looking forward to this second race.
Yes, a little bit longer, 33 laps, but they have a pit stop to do this time around. So it won't be the likes of Sundström sort of being stuck on the primary tyres as we saw in the previous one. Everyone will have to use them at some point. And from what we saw over the stint, he effectively lost, let's say, 11 seconds to the lead. There was a bit of battling here and there, so maybe 8 or 9 seconds on pure pace they lost. So every driver has to choose, do you want to do that in the first stint or do you want to do that in the second stint? It's one of those things. If you choose the alternates in the first stint, you'll get the gap, but then you'll be slower in the second stint. So someone who does the opposite, uses the alternates at the end, they're going to be coming at you, and that's going to be a very interesting choice of when to make the pit stop as the drivers start to come out on the grid. Of course, top 20 reversed, and here's the grid.
Yeah, Tony Uvinen, as a result, is on pole ahead of Magnus Hagman with Anders Carlsen and Kenneth Tier on row 2. Linus Hellberg and Christopher Dahlstrand run at row 3. Dahlstrand's teammate, Marcus Stiller, is 7th, ahead of 2 teammates from Mexican Nation. It's Kasper Björk and Oscar Motin, 8th and 9th. Daniel Holmer is rounding out the top 10 for Simrace Sweden, with 11th place taken up by Nicholas Helm, and then Peter Humbro is 12th. Jörg Frist is 13th. Ahead of Mikael Sundström on the outside line. It is all nearly on pace drivers. Sundström, Hagström, Biggersu and Manson all lined up next to one another, or behind one another I should say. On the other side it is Ossund and Forsund who are sharing the roads with them. Ericsson and Lindorf round out the top 20, who've been reversed. Bjorn Prostrom is just outside the top 20 with Kalle Wallenström at 22nd. Cedric Holmbaum and Jonas Söberg round out the top 12 rows I should say. Then it's Oliver Wallin, Alexander Olsen, Philip Hahn, Robert Eriksson and Hakan Schott, all of whom seem to be getting onto the grid, which is good news. And indeed we pull away for the formation lap. Just not sure whether my timing screen is not updating at the moment, or whether some of those who should be towards the front are not taking the start here, Cam. I'm seeing Kenneth Tier, Marcus Stiller and Kasper Björk maybe absent here.
That is true from what I'm seeing as well. Maybe they'll be starting from the back. If so, that is going to be giving some free positions. And out of 20 places reversed, 3 places is a big gain for those who, of course, did well in that previous race. So we have the likes of Lindorf down in 20th place, Ericsson 19th, way back in the pack. They've got a lot of work to do to get back up to the front. You would assume over 33 laps they would be able to do that, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. A lot of fast cars still around them, and as we know, Ewan, very hectic indeed.
Yeah, I wonder who this helps. The 3 of them being in pit lane and maybe not starting at all here, because they were all inside the top 20. I would expect the non-starters to be way down the field, maybe, who have had a really bad first race and don't really want to return for the second. But that's not the case. Those guys were going to be starting 4th, 7th and 8th in this race. I wonder who that helps here, as everyone's promoted up, pretty much everybody promoted up 3 places.
Either that or they didn't come back from their toilet break quick enough between the 2 races. Has been done before, unfortunately.
Quite a long toilet break.
Yeah, that's true. They do have about 5 minutes in between the races in this series, so it should be plenty long enough. It's not like it's just grid and go once again, but certainly a little bit of time, and maybe, especially for Marcus Stiller, he does like starting at the back for Clutch Club, so maybe that's part of it. But all of the cars working their way through, and this is, as ever, a good opportunity for some drivers to stay at the front. But just how easy will that be? It looks like there's a lot of the alternate tyres, but once again, it was I think that was one of the nearly on pace cars still on the primaries. They must love them round here.
Yeah, I think it does make more sense in race 2. If you're starting in traffic, you're going to be in traffic anyway. You can't use the alternates basically to their full potential, I don't think. And so if you're further towards the back, I think primaries are a good idea early on, but we'll see whether that's proven true or not as we make our way into the final couple of corners. It is going to be Tony Uvinen and Magnus Hagman ready to get us underway. Marcus Stiller and Casper Bjork are lined up in pit lane, by the way. They look like they will start, at least from pit lane. Kenneth Tier maybe won't start at all. We'll see, though, as we get ourselves through the final corner. Is he going to go as early as Sundström did here, Tony Ivinen? Not quite. He does leave it a couple of moments, but now he goes in towards turn number 1. He's got clean over the rest of the field, and coming through from 4th place there is Linus Hellberg. Oh, my goodness me! Oh, he fires over the first corner as well. He's going to have a monstrous slowdown for that. After a great start, he's going to drop way down the field.
That was something absolutely crazy. He already not quite jumped the start, but he got it absolutely put to perfection out of the final corner. We're 3 wide, 2 rows deep coming in towards turn 3. Are they all going to be able to make it through and give each other room? I think they just about have, but that was certainly a win. Oh no! Further contact in the background, as that is going to be Osland involved and potentially one of the nearly on pace cars. Trying to work out who that is.
Manson, it's Albin Manson who's got off with him, and Bjorn Broström has dropped down towards the back as well, but those are the only guys that have had incidents so far by the looks of things. All of the pit lane starters we were talking about at the beginning did get underway, by the way. Kenneth Scheer, Casper Bjork and Marcus Stiller are all in the race. Robin Osland has gone back to pit lane, though. We'll get a replay of that once things settle down here in the race. There's Forsland, just ahead of Ericsson and Frisk, who go side by side. Ericsson prevails in that one, so just ahead of him is Forsland. Then further up the road from him is Henrik Lindhoff, who's already made 9 places. He's into 11th position.
And Dan Holm is 2nd place. He's already made 8 places. Oh, there's a crash at the final corner. A couple of drivers going off. Helmbro's involved. Hellberg as well, as I think Hagman's lost places. Bodywork everywhere out to the final corner. Absolute disaster at the final corner. And let's see Jocke Frisk coming through now. He's on the primary tyres, actually, as he tries to work his way back up.
Hagman's got no rear wing. That's Marcus Hagman just up ahead with very little rear downforce, and he's staying out of everybody's way, and thank goodness for that, because he's going to be in big trouble if he tries to go too quickly. He's just going to stop here, isn't he?
No nose cone there as well. Is that one of his MHE Racing teammates? What a disaster for him.
Yeah, that's a complete disaster, as the Swedish flag is flapping rather lazily in the wind on the back of the rear wing. Well, not a good start for Hagman. So also dropping down. Christopher Dahlström has not necessarily had a problem. He's just been overtaken quite a lot. He's 13th now from where he started. Jocke Frisk has gone backwards, as though we were on board with him at the time we saw that all happening. Peter Helmbro is the one with no nose cone. Kenneth Tier, of course, started from the pit lane, so he's dropped a long way back. We saw Hellberg, and we're going to see Hellberg in the final corner in a few moments' time as well. We'll have that replay lined up, and Marcus Hagman, as we can see here, a rather long look at him dropping down the field with no rear wing. And so he will find himself in the pit lane very shortly. 3 wide. Henrik Lindhoff is involved as well here, I believe. What a great overtake from him again. Lindhoff into 6th position. What a start for the championship leader.
And we go 3 wide once again as it's the 37. Jesper Eriksson trying to make some moves. He already has past 1 or 2 into turn 1. And these guys, they've made up so places already. As Vigershu makes another move, he's up into 3rd place. He's made 13 places so far. Lindhoff already inside the top 6. So this reverse grid is proving very nicely for them already. On to lap 3, just a 3rd or 10th of the way into the race, I should say. Here's some contact. So Austin's in the middle of a 3 wide situation and just contact on the outside, unfortunately, with Manson. Nowhere really for Manson to go, and unfortunately that is still up from the back of the grid. Saves it quite nicely, actually, but then this is where the contact was between the teammates, MHE Racing teammates, and unfortunately that's Hellberg going to the back of the pair of them.
Why was Hagman going so slowly there? I'm not entirely sure. Well, this is him letting everybody through again in towards turn number 3. Why was he going so slowly, though? I don't understand. Oh dear, Alexander Olsen's made a catastrophic misjudgment there, and he's nearly found himself outside the bounds of the racetrack. Let's have another look at. I mean, that's just silly, isn't it? You could see that coming from a mile away. He didn't even move in the braking zone up ahead there. He just drove into him.
Way too deep on the race, losing both front wheels, and this is carnage in turn 1 as well. Completely different speeds of drivers going through there. We saw this on the previous lap. We're 3 wide for the 2nd lap in a row, so trying to see some more drivers making some places. That is getting so close indeed. There's Jesper Eriksson on the outside line in towards turn 3. 2 laps in a row, he goes 3 wide. He actually is going to lose a position here potentially, as Forson's trying to get involved. The drivers still haven't calmed down from the opening sequence of corners. Up ahead, we're going to see further moves as well as they try and get up to 2nd place as Vigershu in the 8-11 already to 2nd, up 14 places.
Yeah, he's made a great start as well to staying ahead of Lindhoff, which is exactly what he has to do. He's got to gain some of those points he lost back again in the second race. Same on Forsland as well, who has brought the gap down between those two down to a very, very small distance indeed. Forsland's currently 8th place, so Hagström Viggesjö will be reinstating the margin he held at the start of the day. Sundström's making decent progress as well here. I mentioned that the primaries or alternates don't really make loads of difference in traffic when it's this chaotic. Well, now it's going to start to make a difference, but the good thing is he hasn't wasted 4 laps on the red stripe tyres. Instead, he's used up 4 laps on the primaries while he's been stuck in traffic. I think this is a good call.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. And if he can keep in this pack, then of course they'll come to him. But once again, completely different speeds through turn 1. So you see the drivers still getting to grips with this circuit. It's a very difficult one. Yes, but Ericsson is going to be getting the run up towards turn 3. Big dive to the inside, late on the brakes for the 37 machine. Slight lock on the rears, but he's got the move done up into 6th place. Sundström surely won't be able to hold on to that one as he goes off into the grass.
Side by side, surely coming up here on the way in towards turn number 4 as Sundström gives Ericsson another go. He's going to go too wide there, though. That was a bit silly. He nearly ends up in the gravel. Here comes Forsland. He's not quite going to come through here on the traction quite. He will stay in 8th place. Henrik Holmboe just in behind, and then Oscar Motin, who has been demoted to 10th place in the last few moments. Oliver Hagström Viggesjö is now catching with Tony Uvinen, who still leads this race, by the way. I think he was hoping, though, given the fact he was on pole, that he would have a little bit more breathing space over the big names when they started to come through. Well, unfortunately, he's got 1.5 seconds, and that's all he's got to last another 28 laps with.
Although on the last lap, he already lost 1.3 seconds to Oliver Hagström Viggesjö, who was the fastest car, the only one in the 1 minute 14s. There's another 1.1 seconds, so give it another lap or two, and Hagström surely will be in the lead of this race. As we can see him up the hill, actually really is closing in. So this battle is definitely not over for that P1 position, as the 811 is really coming for this race lead so far. We've got a big train of cars in behind in this top 10, though, all staying very close together at this point, and pretty much all of them are on the alternate tyres, so on the same strategy.
Søberg has just lost a place to Kenneth Tier. That's quite a long way further down the field. This is all inside the top 10, of course. Top 10 covered by 6 seconds as things stand. I can only imagine things are going to get closer, actually. Helm is very close to Dan Holmer here, who's currently holding on to 3rd place. And here goes Helm, looking at the inside rather tentatively, actually. And Lindhoff is going to follow through. That's exactly what he was waiting for. Helm to go through, then Holmer stares out the way of Lindhoff. I suppose that was a bit more amicable, actually. Lindhoff now through to 4th place.
And up 16 places. This is working out great as they go side by side. Holmer loses another place because Jesper Eriksson's sister teammate comes through, so doesn't want to fight them. And now he's on the back foot because he's got Sundström and Forsland coming up behind him. So I don't know if that was necessarily the best choice for his race. Here comes Forsland up the inside in towards turn 1. We see the few overtakes here already. A bit of contact between them. Later on, the brace of Forsland squeezes in between the 2 cars and manages to make the move.
By the way, I think Sundström's on red stripe tyres, isn't he? From what I can see here.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's not... Why on earth would he go primaries in the first race? I don't know. Anyway, he's 8th place now anyway.
I think it was their teammate, Manson, earlier, who was on the primaries, but of course he's out of the race now, so that strategy's gone.
Okay. Yeah, Manson is a very long way down. I don't think he's out of the race, but he is a long way down. That's for sure. He had that crash early on. Yeah, 22nd after a pit stop already, so he's probably not going to be seen again. Holmer and Sundström side by side. Sundström following Forsland through here, but Holmer's going to give him a lot more of a difficult time here. Sundström goes for the cutback instead. Meanwhile, Helm and Lindhoff go side by side as Sundström continues to try and find his way through. There they go. Ericsson watches on from behind. Lindhoff, though, back up to the podium places.
I tell you what, Lindhoff is really coming alive in this championship. He's had some decent speed over the last sort of year and a half or so that we've been following the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan on RaceSpotTV here. He's been having some decent results, but here in this Indy car this season, he is really turning up the heat. He's already got the lead of the championship. He's got a win tonight, and now he is just 2 seconds off the lead, which might be swapping around already because the 811 is going for the lead here. He's going to be around the outside in towards turn 3. Uvinen not been able to fight, and in the background as well, Helm's going to be losing another place as Ericsson dives up the inside. So 2 moves in the 2 corners for those drivers, and they've both got pulled them off.
Yeah, Ericsson knew that was important because Lindhoff had just gotten through, so to stay with him. You need to get past Helm as quickly as possible, and that is exactly what he's done. But Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö is now leading the race. He's nearly 2 seconds ahead of Henrik Lindhoff. I think the focus for these next couple of laps, while Lindhoff finding way past Uvenen, is build a margin that you can take to the end of the race, because there's a very long time to go here. We don't normally see the big names in the lead this early after coming through from the back. Hagström has overtaken 15 drivers to get here. Lindhoff might have overtaken 18 when he's overtaken if he's overtaken Uvenen. Ericsson, it will be 16. So these drivers have made up a lot of places in just 8 laps.
They certainly have, and I think by the time we get to the end of the 33, this top 5, maybe top 10 even, is going to be massively far away from the midfield, maybe even some lapping situations. They've got some really good speed, these drivers, to work their way through. I mean, of course, there was a couple of crashes as well, but they've just got the speed, the raw speed. They're driving past people. That is a move for, is that Lindhoff? Yes, it'll be Lindhoff going up the inside into second place. It's going to be Uvenen dropping down. He's got another driver. Yes, but Ericsson in behind him now, trying to make his way through. So Uvenen, he's actually done a good job to hold out for the front as long as he can. So he's massively far from the mid-pack. And one by one, I would assume these cars are going to get past, because he did a 1:17 last lap. Everyone else in the mid-1:15s.
This is going to be a few laps of pain, I think, for Tony Uvenen, as he's got Ericsson, Helm and Forsland all queuing up right behind him now through the double left-hand. Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö is going to be furious at some lap traffic here that are battling amongst themselves, not quite getting out of his way, and so he's losing time. So is Uvenen. Here comes Ericsson on the outside line of turn number 8 and into the final couple of corners. Hagström-Viggersjö is still stuck behind the lap traffic. Ericsson now gets through to the top 3. Now he pulls through the inside the final corner, but he's going to be furious about this. The gap's just over half a second now. Now he pulls right to, oh dear, they're going to get out of the way now. But Hagström-Viggersjö has been royally slowed there, and Henrik Lindhoff was suddenly right in the game.
Certainly is. Half a second between the pair of them, and only really 5 seconds for this top 8 cars. It is absolutely crazy scenes at this moment in time. We've got the lap traffic to the right-hand side as well. As we come up, there's Helm diving it to the inside of Uvenen. Can he find his way past? He can, and that opens the door for Forsland. Double overtake there, or 2 lost really for Uvenen, although they are side by side still at this moment in time. You see the green lights flashing as we have the push to pass in play there for Forsland. Has he done enough to complete the move down to turn 4? Yes, he has. He had to work hard for that one a little bit. Uvenen just, unfortunately, not quite having the speed to keep up these guys.
And Motin gets past Dan Holmer meanwhile. Which I thought Holmer would be able to keep him behind for a little while, actually, but that's changed for ninth place anyway, a little bit further down. Lots of cars in this train, by the way, and they're not all on the lead lap, worth reminding you. It's a lot of traffic already in this race, because only 23 of them are still on the lead lap. Linus Hellberg, Marcus Hagman and Jock Frisk are all driving around on one lap down. Philip Hahn, Alexander Olsen and Robin Ostrand are all out of the race. I think it was Hellberg and Hagman who were right in front of Oliver Hagström-Viggersjö there, but I didn't think that was very good lap trafficking at all from those two. They've slowed up the leader massively. They've created a very big group for the lead, but they've basically done Henrik Lindhoff's work for him, because he's now there with still 23 laps remaining.
Absolutely, and he might actually be half thinking about a move there up towards turn 3, but in the end, don't think he went for it just now. But that's a bit too wide there from, unfortunately, that was Uvenen, and of course we're going to see in the background Helm getting just caught up with that one a little bit, and as we work away, actually it's not Hellberg, sorry, that's Hellberg, a lap down actually, getting involved there, and that's obviously what just caused a little bit of an issues for Forsland. For Helm, and Forsland gets through, and that's just showing you how the traffic really plays into account, and we've seen Sundström losing some time behind as well.
I'm sorry for being so, maybe harsh about it, but that for being so bad at getting out the way. I mean, the gap's ballooned between 3rd and 4th now. It was all one group. It's ballooned to 2 seconds because Hellberg was in the way for ages, and now Forsland has finally gotten through. But it's created a 3 for the lead, and it's given these guys no chance. They're miles behind now. And hopefully lap traffic is not going to be too much more of a factor in this race, because it's had a huge bearing on the top 10 so far.
Yeah, the last 3-4 laps have really sort of changed the way that this race is going to go. The top 3 are pulling away, and Lindhoff is now within that slipstream. He'll have the push pass coming up towards turn 3 as well. Can he send it down the inside? It's going to be a late braking maneuver. The space is given actually, but he doesn't quite use it from the 8 there. So the Viggersjö holds on for now, but is there going to be a second opportunity down towards turn 4?
Should be. He's back in the slipstream again. Under quarter of a second it goes. Figures doesn't just try to defend, and Lindhoff doesn't go for the move either. He knows that would have been a bit brave, but he's gone wide. Oliver Hagström Figures needs to hold on from Henrik Lindhoff here, really, if he wants to stay in the hunt for this championship. He's on the inside line. He's forcing Lindhoff round the outside. Double left-hander coming up here. It would be very impressive if he can do this, but the championship leader is not having anything holding back at the moment. Round the outside he goes, through turn 7 and into the lead of the race. Henrik Lindhoff, championship leader, on his way to win number 4 of the season, maybe, with a spectacular overtake in the middle sector.
He already did that a little bit early in the race, so he had the confidence, but to do it against a championship contender is something completely different. But he's made it work, and he's up into first place. But unfortunately for Vigashu, he's now got to look at his background, because Ericsson is coming for him as well to make it a sim race Sweden 1-2.
Here he goes out of turn number 1. I don't think Hagström Vigashu is having his best day. I don't think this is his favourite circuit out of the ones we're going to be using, the 7 we're using this season. To be honest, he's struggling at the moment. Lindhoff goes through. Jesper Eriksson needs to stay with him as well. Don't forget how far Eriksson is back in the championship. 100 points behind the leader at the start of the day because of some difficult races so far, and of course having to miss a couple of them as well. That has really held him back here. But at the moment, nobody can stop Henrik Lindhoff by the looks of things. This is a spectacular drive from him. He is, of course, the race winner of 3 races already this season. Opening round at Barber, the opening race indeed at Barber, the first race at Belle Isle as well, and he's come back here to the Red Bull Ring to get to the top step maybe twice in one night. Hasn't been done yet this season. He could be the first, and it would only be Henrik Lindhoff to be able to do this in the lead with still 20 laps to go.
I was about to mention that the lap count is still, a decent distance to the end. So, and we've got our pit stop to come. Don't you remember as well? Don't you forget, I should say. So we do have the primary tyres coming for these drivers. That might swap things around a little bit less grip. They've been on the alternates all night to have these drivers after obviously qualifying race 1 and now this first stint as well. So they're going to go on to the primaries. I wonder just how that will affect them as they work their way towards the end of this race, but still probably another 5 laps or so before we start seeing those pit stops. Although you never know with when drivers want to come in. Of course, the longer you go, the less time you have on the primaries, but then you might stay out a little bit too long on these alternates if they've worn out.
It will be 2.5 laps away from halfway right now, by the way. So if you want to split it in half, well, you can't because it's an odd number, but you see what I mean. You can get as close as you can in a couple of laps. Meanwhile, Oliver Hagström Vigashu just loses a second now to Lindhoff. He's officially losing a significant amount of time now, and Ericsson is very much on his way, very much closing in this battle for second position. Meanwhile, Sjöberg is into pit lane. He'll drop a lap now as a result of stopping as these guys come over the line. The gap about 4/10 of a second. How quickly can Ericsson make his way through? Can he work his way through at all here? End towards turn number 3. Definitely needs to, if he wants to win this race, needs to catch up to Henrik Lindhoff.
And I think this might be the move. Let's see. Well, actually, he didn't quite close down. There must have been some push past gates, but he's later on the brakes, though. Up the inside it's going to be. He had to wait for that move, and it was very late indeed, but he's got it done. He's up into second place. Can Vigashu do anything to come back down towards turn 4? It's one of those things you have to pounce back straight away to the outside line to try and slow Ericsson down. He's not going to be able to go around the outside there, but can he slow him down enough for turns 5 and 6? No. So that is the 37 through, and it's back to the 1-2 that we saw in the first race.
It is indeed. We are as you were pretty much. 19 positions gained for Henrik Lindhoff, 17 for Ericsson, 13 for Oliver Hagström Vigashu and Edvin Forsund. Those 4 have made some big strides here, although Cedric Holmbom and Oliver Bohlin and Robert Eriksson all deserve a mention as well. They've started outside the top 20 and they are moving on up as well. So it's been a very good race of gains for many of them, and for some others it's been a bit of a disaster. Marcus Hagman's down 23, for example, after starting on the front row of the grid. It's been difficult for some as we go over the line again at the end of lap number 15. It's going to start to settle down now in the lead, I think. Next up will be Forsund, I suppose, on the back of Oliver Hagström Vigashu. As further behind, this is Dahlström being overtaken by his teammate Marcus Stiller,
who was from the back of the grid in race number 1. He's been off into the gravel at times as well. and now trying to make some moves in that 0-13 machine, and that's going to be Kenneth Tier. Move done and dusted. Carlson, I should say, done and dusted up the inside there and gets it done in towards turn number 1 and should be able to pull away. Very up and down round for Stiller, trying to get every point that he can at this point. And of course, up into P13 in the number 13.
Yeah, up another position into 13th for now, but there's a very big gap up ahead, I've got to say, for him. So we go even further back in the field now. This is Kenneth Tier, I think, around the outside of Hackenschott into 18th position. It was not on Hackenschott, apologies. I don't know. But anyway, out the pit lane for Dahlstrand, just slightly confusing me, right into the middle of this group. So there he goes, just in behind. Then it's Casper Buick, Peter Downbrook, Hackenschott a little bit further behind. And in this rather large group, but these are where the groups are now. It's not necessarily at the front of the field where there are seconds between them, as Oliver Bohlin comes in from the top 10.
Yeah, I was just about to say it. 72 come in. So this is about halfway in the race, splitting it in two. That's wide there for Vuju. He might be losing a place to Forsen if he can't quite get the momentum down this back straight. But actually, I don't think Forsen's quite close enough, but definitely some mistakes coming in, the tyres wearing out. And I wonder, at this halfway point of the race, how many drivers will be jumping in at the first opportunity, really, to come in. The logical opportunity at the half race distance, but is anyone going to take it? He's actually going to be held up here. That's the number 3 of Wallingston. Is this going to give an opportunity for Forsen to try and get his way through? I think there was just a little bit of time loss for the 811, but he's held on to that position.
As for the moment, as Carlson makes his pit stop and comes out around where Kenneth Tier is, as we were watching earlier on, we are now officially over halfway in this race. 17 laps complete here of the 33 as Lindhoff makes his way over the line. This is the battle for 7th place. Tony Evans has driven pretty well so far, but the laws of physics, as it were, with regards to how quick he is compared to those at the very front of the field, have applied very quickly here, and he's now under pressure for his 7th position.
Yeah, he's only lost 11 seconds as such over 18 laps, effectively, on average to the race lead, as Moting comes in as well. So it's not doing too badly for a reverse grid race. Let's see if he's going to lose another place. No, Holmbom decides not to send it down the inside. Maybe a feeling it's on the exit. No, just slides there. It's a little bit wide, actually, for Uvedon. Maybe that just caught out the 10 machine, who had to slide in sympathy, really. Has come down towards turn 4 now. This might be the overtaking opportunity that he's needed way later on the brakes there. The 84 actually not defending that one too much. That is going to be position gained for the number 10 as Uvedon drops down one place more. Now he's got to look at his mirrors because Dan Holm is coming in behind. Yep,
really closing in for 7th place. Although he was losing a lot of places earlier, was Homer. So I guess they were to his teammate, he was letting them through, but either way, that was weird. Holmbom there sliding straight in front, either it was a slide or he swiped in front of Tony Uvedon, who got the running in there, and he's back down the inside of him. Oh, he's made an error! He slides on the way into the corner, Uvedon, straight into the side of Holmbom and spins himself around.
And that's fortunate to not be an even bigger accident. But what it looks like is now Holm is going to have the opportunity to try and get past his sister teammate for the Academy car up ahead. But that was a tiny mistake, but with a big outcome there for Uvedon as he drops down some 6 seconds, just loses the rear end as he gets towards the apex. And that wiggle was enough to make the contact and spin him around.
He just, gets a bit of entry oversteer. And as you say, very lucky no one was around to see that and collect him. Good avoidance from Harbour in the end, who, by the way, in live pictures, you will have seen the bottom left right got through into 7th place. This is Edvin Forsund also making a pretty important overtake here. These two now will be separated by very few points in the championship standings. Forsund is up 13 so far, started this race down in 17th as he finished 4th. Hardstrom, of course, up from just the one position ahead, so he will have closed in a tiny bit, will Forsund. He'd like to close in a little bit more with a pass here, maybe in towards, well, any of the corners, but not now because they're both coming in pit lane together.
So as they are Ericsson as well, Nicholas Helm in behind, but Lindhoff stays out, Sundström as well. So a few drivers going longer. The thing of going longer is you technically now have a quali lap with 1 lap of fuel left as well. So if you've got the tyres, it can work. Of course, primary tyres going on both sets of tyres, both compounds of tyres, I should say, need to be used. But let's see how effective this overcut is for Lindhoff.
So Ericsson gets out first, then don't be confused by Robert Ericsson, who's still out on the racetrack. Then it's Oliver Hagström Vigazoo, followed by Edvin Forsund. Yeah, you're right. Lindhoff will be on lower fuel and the better tyres as well. I can't imagine that this is going to be too great for those who were pitted early, but they may not have felt they had a choice here with 19 laps complete in the race. And as you can see, the new primaries versus some old red stripe tyres, not actually that bad for Jesper Ericsson, who makes his way back through on Robert.
Yeah, let's see if he can get up some decent pace, though. They will take a lap or two to come into their full pace, you would expect. But, of course, compared to the old alternates, they should be at least with some decent speed. Lindhoff comes in straight away to replicate that strategy. Just 1 lap less, 14 laps to go. It will be for him when he comes out of the pit stop. But let's see what Ericsson can do with his battle with the teammate. Of course, he had to get past that traffic. That was a very crucial manoeuvre to not lose too much time. Sundström follows in, as well as Dan Holmer. They are all down pit road.
Looks like this is the limit then. 20 laps. Now then, has Lindhoff done enough? You would have thought he has done. There he is leaving the pit lane on the right-hand side. You see up in the distance. 8.8 seconds in the box. It should be enough for Lindhoff to lead by some margin. Just less than 2 seconds will be the gap. Actually, just over 1. But the senior set now. 13 laps to go. Can Ericsson close in enough to give us a battle for the race lead and himself a chance of winning this race?
I don't think the 1 lap difference on tyres is going to make a huge difference, so he's got to do it on pace. And from what we saw in the first race of the evening, Lindhoff was able to hold off Ericsson, but 1.5 seconds basically he's got to do. So it's not too much, just a 10th here, 10th there, and he'll be able to get in that slipstream. However, it's going to be some hard work to do. Oh, though, Lindhoff's gone wide. Lindhoff has gone wide, and this is going to give the opportunity for Ericsson to retake the lead, as he's lost a few times so far this season. But Lindhoff, that's a catastrophic error on those cold tyres.
A rare, unforced error, really, from Henrik Lindhoff, who is really struggling on old tyres. Look at Ericsson, up to speed, up to temperature, and he's up to the lead. Jesper Ericsson is flying into these final couple of corners. He's going to have a second over Lindhoff, who cannot get these tyres going. He's going to be concerned. He needs to get those tyres underneath him very quickly, because the others are not far behind.
We've been told that the 8.99 Sundström has a penalty as well, so that is important for him. Coming out of pit road, going way too wide there over the line, and that is, of course, going to be hindering him. He's back down pit road straight away to serve that one, so that is a big harm for his second stint here, because it's actually quite a long pit road.
It is, even that's on the inside of the circuit. Been forced to try that one again on the exit of pit lane, and he shortly will do. In towards turn 1 for Ericsson, just in behind Tony Uvinen now, who's still 10th, and Sundström is still 9th, despite making that drive-through penalty. I can't really believe that, but he is in 9th place. So there you go. Not that much of a loss clearly for him. Sorry, what did you say? Sorry.
Maybe as long as we thought then, but maybe it's also because of the gaps behind were sort of in their favour after that speed from those top maybe 6-7 drivers in that opening stint. They really pulled away from that midfield and easily ahead of this battle that we're looking at now. This is the battle for P11 with Robert Ericsson, as he's got Uvinen just ahead of him.
Yeah, I'd imagine these two will be fairly well matched actually for the remainder of the race, but we'll see about that as they make their way around turn number 7. Down, well, up over the crest of the hill, I should say, then back down again through the final couple of corners, turn 9 first, and then the final corner. This is the battle for the highest place in the field, by the way. All of the top 10 positions, apart from this one, are currently being held comfortably by those ahead of them. And so Uvinen here has got to defend from Robert Ericsson, who started this race having it in 28th position, looking to make this 18th overtake of his race, if indeed he can make his way through here on Uvinen, but it's not going to happen in towards turn number 3 this time.
Yeah, maybe not now, but I think he might be able to. Uven has just been going backwards, and Uven obviously had the issue earlier. He was about 11 seconds off the lead at one point. He's now 28, so that's really changed his race quite a bit. Those pit stops has actually spread things out quite a bit more. I guess with those laps on the cold tyres, a few mistakes here and there, slightly different lengths in the pit stop, maybe by a second here or there as well, and that has just spread things out a little bit more for a couple of these positions. And as you see, Uven, one of those to lose quite a bit of time. Eracsson not quite able to get close enough, really. Needs to be another car length closer or so, but Uven is a bit wide there.
Certainly is. Can he take advantage? It's going to be tricky in the final two corners to do anything. So staying behind in towards the final two corners, doesn't really use the exit there. Actually abiding by the track limits through the penultimate corner, would you believe it? And losing out as a result. Uven just gains a bit of time, although his run onto front straight wasn't great. And Eracsson looks up the inside again. Can't quite do it on this occasion. In towards turn number one. Can he get the run? He utilises that outside curve that doesn't really stop him from exceeding track limits, to be honest. Now on the run up the hill towards turn three. Will there be a chance on this occasion with 10 laps to go? He has a half look and he decides against it once again.
Yeah, he's clearly not wanting to send it, probably because he feels like he's going to get more opportunities to get past, but he's still stuck behind. And if he gets through, well, I guess it is quite a big gap, but he may have half an opportunity to do something up ahead if there are some issues for the drivers inside that top 9. He gets closer on the brakes once more, but not able to quite get through just yet. And I was having actually a look, Ewan, just at some of the lap times up ahead. The top 4 are over a second a lap faster than everyone else, and that is obviously just the reason why they got that 6-second gap to Helm in P5. Yeah,
remarkable pace. Fastest lap of the race so far, by the way, is currently set by Oliver Heidström Vigersjö at the very beginning, 1:14.8 from him on that occasion, although Jesper Eriksson on the last time round managed to do 1:14.9, so maybe there isn't as much difference between these tyre sets as initially reported.
Maybe not, but I guess they are close, and it's more the drop-off that is quite different. But yeah, that's an interesting spot, very interesting spot indeed. As Bohlin gets past Helm for P5, Sundström has got past Mota in this battle that we're looking at now for P8. So a couple of drivers still making moves so far at this point of the race. Oliver Bohlin, actually, we haven't really spoken about him loads in this race, but he's up 19 places now to P6.
20 places up to P5. Just got past Nicholas Helm, so he's the first one to hit 20. He might be the only one, unless Robert Eriksson really gets himself together. I don't think he'll be managing that anytime soon. So Oliver Bohlin, great drive from him into P5. I think it's worth reminding everybody, Cam, just what we were going through this time. Last time we had a reverse grid race. I think we had about 6 left at Belle Isle by this stage in the race.
Oh, don't remind me. That was absolute carnage. Of course, a proper street track. The walls are a lot closer. As you've been mentioning, we do have a lot of runoff at this track, so that helps things a little bit. But certainly, it's been a much better reverse grid race. We had a little bit of carnage in the first couple of laps, but it's settled down. We have some nice battles. Let's see if this one is going to continue. Sjöberg gets up the inside of Broström in towards turn number 3. A bit later on the brakes, gets there. Broström actually leaves plenty of space. That might open up the door for another driver to come through as well, as Hakan shot just behind.
What has happened to Nicholas Helm? He's in the pit lane. Oh, what is he doing here? 2-stop race? This is bizarre. Or did he not make his stop at all yet and we just missed that? I don't know. But
maybe he didn't take the tyres. Maybe he forgot to take the other set of tyres. Interesting to do at that point. In some ways, you might as well just commit and do it a bit later in the race. But I guess he's chosen time that he would have wanted. But he's come out in P11.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be, actually, but he's right ahead of Marcus Stiller there in the 11th position, so we'll have something to worry about, I'd imagine, for the remainder of the race. Oliver Heidström Vigersjö is third ahead of Viv Forsland. That's a bit of a battle developing and brewing at the moment as well here in the podium positions. He really needs that place, as meanwhile this is way down, a lap down for Hakenschott and Björn Broström, who are going side by side, and Broström is overtaken by Hakenschott there, making his way through into 19th place.
That was probably one of the most dramatic moves for a P19 that you'll see in your life. Hakenschott going right to the pit wall to get past the 41 machine there, but at least he's made it stick in the 101 and he's up another place. And of course, every point will count. As such, we do have the drop scores, as you say, to take into account, but you want to be getting obviously your other 13 races as nicely as possible to try and make yourself obviously get up there in the championship. So very nice one indeed for Hokashot, who's clearly pulling away in the fastest driver at this point. And looking down in some of the other gaps, it looks like Ericsson's got Lindhoff covered for the lead in the race, being behind Forsen and Vigashu. I don't think that battle is completely over just yet. There's only a 10th of a second separating them on pace as well. But we do focus on this battle as Ericsson still in behind Uvenen.
Yeah, you mentioned the drop weeks there. I should explain that it's basically drop races this series. So every individual race gets a score, and that is what you take away. So you could be taking away one race from one round and one from another. For example, at the moment, Henrik Lindhoff will be taking away his second race at Barber and second race at Pelle. It doesn't have to be the two races paired together. It can also be last round's Indiana 400, of course, that was won by Jesper Ohman, who isn't here today, of course, but it can be taken away if that is a low score. And just to update you on what that would mean for the championship, Henrik Lindhoff and Oliver Huijsen-Vigasjou actually have the same amount of drop points as things stand, so nothing would change between them. But Forsen would get closer because he would only drop 6 points. And with Oscar Fredriksson missing these two races tonight, he would also move a little bit closer because he'd have no score, but of course he won't have anything added to his score from tonight, if that makes any sense. So he will drop further away. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Basically no change, apart from Edvin Forsen getting a little bit closer. Only tonight he has been behind Lindhoff on both occasions. So the long story short is that Henrik Lindhoff is going to have a very big championship lead, I believe, of possibly even over 40 points.
Which would be quite something with just 4 races remaining in the championship after this one. But let's see what the gap is going to be, because Forsen has the opportunity for another point here. Like, can he get past Hokashot Vigasjou? That'll be onto the podium as well. You've got the two Black Sim Race Sweden cars up ahead of Schott, but what can their sister car do in the Academy? White entry up towards turn 3. Of course, these cars swapped around before. Can Forsen get himself onto the podium in that 27 machine? He is the faster driver at this point. He was a couple of tenths quicker last lap. He was a 10th quicker on the previous one as well.
He's sort of allowed Oliver Huijsen-Vigasjou to get comfortable, though, I think, with Forsen so close behind him. Maybe there's going to be an all-out assault really late on here, but unless there is some real push to pass saved up here and some real opportunity late on, I'm not sure Forsen is going to be able to find his way onto the podium here. Of course, wasn't quite able to in the opening race either, finishing in 4th on that occasion. Looks like he's going to finish 4th again here in this one as they make their way into the final couple of corners. Still absolutely line astern, and it will be 4 laps to go as they go over the line here, but I've not seen any evidence to suggest he's even getting close at the moment.
But talking of getting close, Lindhoff, a couple of tenths. In fact, he almost matches his best lap of the race. So Lindhoff is pushing. He's now down to a second at the front. Oh, wow. You just look away for half a second and there's another car spun around. That is a very tricky situation. But fortunately, no one caught up with that. I was going to say Jocke Frisk out of the pit lane on cold tyres, went across the racetrack. That was dangerous enough, but then the rejoin wasn't great either.
Yeah, sorry not to have stunned. It was indeed Frisk. That was a bit weird, but anyway, he rejoins. As you're right, it goes below a second for the first time. Has Lindhoff been playing a bit of a game here with Ericsson as Sundström and Holmer change places? That's Mikko Sundström up to 6th place now.
Yes, they are swapping around, so places still being exchanged in these final few tours of the circuit. And what are we going to see in these moves? So we got Lindhoff closing in for 1st. We got Forsen closing in for 3rd place as well. We just had a swap for P6, so the top 10 is still very much alive in these opening, the closing, I should say, stages of this race. Final race of the evening as well. They're all onto the older, slower tyres, so it makes these battles even more difficult.
Is Mikko Sundström going to be the most dominant pole sitter to not get a top 5 in either race? This would be pretty remarkable. I mean, there's still an outside chance, but I can't see him catching Oliver Bohlin. If you'd have told anyone after that qualifying session Sundström won't finish in the top 5 in either race, I think you'd be laughed at, really. But there you go. He's managed to stay out of trouble and also not finish in the top 5. Pretty remarkable. As Evan Forsen now finally starts to apply the pressure with all of 3 laps remaining. He's now giving it a go. Harston Vigasu forced to defend on the way towards turn number 3 this time round. And Forsen is going to come again in towards 4. Have to brake late. He'll have to cut back here instead. As long as Harston Vigasu doesn't brake too late himself, he should be okay. And he parks it right in front of Forsen, holding on to 3rd place again.
A lovely battle between these two. There's only about 10 kilometres left in this race. Not long for them to find a way through. For Forsland, they got some traffic up ahead who's actually dangling some bodywork. Let's hope they don't get too involved in this battle. We've already seen what that can do today. That might be Helberg and Marcus Hogman as well. As we come up towards turn 9 here, it's going to be a defensive line there. Forsland around the outside maybe. No, he's going to get the undercut. Try and dive down the inside. Massive defence to the inside. It's going to be slow off the final corner.
Oh, he's going to be all out of shape here. Here's Oliver Harston Vigasu, and here comes Evan. Though he's slipstream in the 8-11 and he powers back past again on the penultimate lap. Oh, another look from Forsen. He can't quite do it. Needs to focus on the exit here. Can he get it? He's got a decent one, but there's slipstream up ahead from lap traffic again here. That's right in the middle of the road. Oliver Harston Vigasu needs to try and get through here somehow, and it's probably helped him. Forsland is not really left with anywhere to go. The lap car's still on the outside line. Now gets out of the way a little bit, but Forsland can't get through. There was just no space there.
Yeah, I think without the lap car, that's a Coulson, actually the 46 machine. Maybe there would have been enough room for Forsen to open up the corner a little bit more. In the end, he was pinched. He couldn't get on the power as he would have wanted. He's definitely the faster car, but the defensive lines here from Vigasu is absolutely amazing. He's putting his car where he needs with a lap and a half to go.
Certainly is. Can he hold on here in the final lap of the race? It's the Cancer Awareness at the Ring, round 9 of the Bohlin Svenska RaceSpotTV Indy Series in 2024. And Oliver Harston Vigasu holding on to a very crucial 3 points indeed. It would offset any gains and losses by the two of them, these two I should say. Today they both lost to Lindhoff, but they will be pretty much equal at the end of the day. Lindhoff with the fastest lap of his race so far, by the way, as the white flag shown.
Yeah, Lindhoff is now within a second. Is it going to be a lap or two too short? But that just shows you the pace of Ericsson as well. Lindhoff is doing PB basically, and he's only just gaining a couple of thousands here and there. This is Forsen's opportunity up towards turn 3. Hardest braking zone on the track, but what a defensive line from Vigasu so far. Big centered inside. No, he backs out of that one, just trying to slow him down up to turn 4.
He's parked it on the apex as well on the exit here. They both slide as they're starting to struggle now. Low on fuel and high on ambition here on the last lap here for Evan Forsen. Looks up the outside line. It's a long way round here. The camber does not play nicely, but he knows he has to give it a go. He's going to be given room by Oliver Harston Vigasu. Slides into him almost. He's still keeping his nose in front though.
Up the inside, it's going to be in towards turn 6. Can he make it stick? He has done, but he's got to hold it for another corner to make it work. Forsen on the inside, Vigasu on the outside. We've seen this for the race lead, but for 3rd place, it's going to be for the 27 machine. He's just got to hold on for one final braking zone.
He's just got a couple of corners to go as at the final corner comes Jesper Eriksson over the line to win at the Red Bull Ring. It's his 2nd race victory of the season ahead of Henrik Lindhoff, and he does hang on. Forsland hangs on. He'll make some big strides on Oliver Harston Vigasu in the championship today as they both fall further behind Henrik Lindhoff. It's a good win though for Jesper Eriksson, who does just about hang on in the end with the fastest lap of the race to go on the last lap.
What an absolute battle between the teammates there, P1, P2, and then they do it again in both races. They're definitely the cream of the crop here today, getting to the top. 18 overtakes they've had to do to get to this position, and they were pushing like mad. They both did their personal best of the race on that final lap, pushing each other to the absolute limit. That's what we love to see. Some great battles today, but unfortunately for Lindhoff, couldn't get the double victory.
It's Jesper Eriksson who prevents it. He wins by 0.8 of a second ahead of Henrik Lindhoff with a sim race Sweden in some form or another. 1, 2, 3. Evan Forsen gets ahead of Oliver Harston Vigasu, who slowed right down on the last lap once he knew that was over. Oliver Bohlin gained the most places on the day with 5th place finish in the end. 20 positions gained. It is Mikael Sundström who fails to finish in the top 5 in either race tonight, ahead of Dan Holmer, Oscar Mochi. Tony Ivinen did hang on to a top 10 in the end, ahead of Robert Eriksson. Nicholas Helm finished 11th, ahead of Mark Castillo and Albin Manson, the final drivers within a minute. Great drive from Manson, despite ending up all over the place on the opening lap. Kenneth Tier and Christopher Talstrand finished on the lead rally lap in the end with Peter Helmbro one down in 16th place alongside Anders Carlsen, Hakan Schott, Jonas Sjöberg and Bjorn Broström rounding out the top 20. Further down the field, Kalle Weinström, Marcus Hagman and Linus Hörberg were also a lap down. Jörg Frisk ended up 2 laps down. And then the non-finishers, Cedric Holmbaum, Kasper Björk, Philip Hahn, Alexander Olsen and Robin Östlund, many of whom didn't complete very many laps at all. Let's chat to Jesper Eriksson after that race 2 victory, and congratulations Jesper on the win. Just how are you feeling in those final couple of laps with Henrik right behind you, chasing you down all the way?
Oh man, it's so scary having Henrik behind you, knowing you have the championship leader and, to be honest, one of the fast guys in the team, which I respect, and have a lot of great fights, and I know his pace, and it's super scary to see him close every lap, and me being on 13 off-track points, or what you can call them. It's quite scary, to be honest, but so much fun, so much adrenaline, and I really enjoy this. So big congrats to the whole team and on a 1-2-3 finish in the last race.
And the race, I would say, won and lost in the pit stop cycle. Just describe to us what it was like on your outlap on the primary tyres after you'd made your pit stop, because Henrik seemed to really struggle actually on his. That allowed you to overtake, of course.
Yeah, I dove into the pits and felt like, well, let's just try. I mean, I'm not going to catch him. Not thinking the blacks were, faster on the outlap, but coming out of the pits, I noticed they had grip, but they were quite unstable if you did get them to snap. So I was quite calm, knowing that I didn't have to really fight anyone, which I think was that Henrik was a bit stressed up and just made a mistake, which happens to everyone.
Well, congratulations on winning yourself here, Jesper, tonight, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks very much. Jesper Eriksson there, the winner tonight in race 2. Race 1 winner, and indeed race 2 second place, was Henrik Lindhoff, who also joins us now. Welcome in, Henrik. Good to have you with us. Let's chat about the end of race 2. First of all, you were chasing Jesper down in the end, but couldn't quite get there. How are you feeling after race 2? Disappointed you didn't quite get there?
Yeah, of course. I went out with the cold tires on the blacks, and it just didn't really work for me. Took a bit longer than anticipated to get them up to temperature, so I had some lockups and went a bit wide in some corners. And then I tried to chase them down, but I didn't have enough push to pass at the end there, so it was quite hard. But I'm really happy anyways. Second place is good in the second.
Was going to say, yeah, you've scored nearly 100 points tonight, so you can't be that disappointed with the way things have gone for sure. Tell us a little bit about race 1 and how you were able to win that one, despite actually going backwards on the start.
Yeah, exactly. I had a bit of a hard start actually. I thought I was going to lose out a bit there, but it came back, and then I was in second place there. And then the car in front had black tires, which was really bad in the beginning there. Same problem that I had in the second race. So I was just a lot quicker and could really nail the exits a lot better. So yeah, it was quite easy to get past, and then it was trying to keep the gap.
Well, congratulations on keeping the gap and getting first place, and indeed second in race 2 tonight. Thanks for coming to chat to us as well. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great broadcast.
Thanks very much. Henrik Lindhoff there, the winner of race 1 and second place in race 2. Third place in race 2 was Edvin Forsund, who can now join us as well. Welcome in, Edvin. It was a great battle between yourself and Oliver right at the very end. You made us wait for the final few laps, but it was certainly worth the wait. Tell us about that pass with just a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting to attack until like the very final few laps, because I didn't want to battle with him too much, because I already had quite a few X's, and I knew one more contact X and I would have a penalty. So I was just trying to take it easy, but then on the final few laps, just like in the first I noticed that I became quicker than Oliver, so I just thought, yeah, I'll just sit back, wait a little bit, and pounce at the end, which I did. So yeah, it was a fun battle, and I really had to scope out where I was going to make the move, and I actually planned it accordingly, and it worked out. So I'm quite happy with that. P3.
Yeah, certainly P3 for you in race 2 tonight. Just keep the championship margin close-ish at least, but I think Henrik Lindhoff, based on my very rough maths, is going to be 40 points, possibly around, ahead of yourself and Oliver as well, who you were fighting with there at the end. How are you feeling about the rest of the championship now and your hopes maybe of catching Henrik in the final 4 rounds?
I mean, I'm certainly going to go for it, but Henrik is a very quick driver, so it's going to be difficult, but I'm certainly going to go for it. And of course, we have to also consider the drop rounds that we have as well. And I don't know how that's going to work out afterwards, but yeah, I'm definitely going to try to put the pressure on him until the very end.
I can tell you you're going to be a bit closer when the drop rounds are applied, so that's it's good news for you, put it that way. Congratulations on third tonight in race 2, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much, Evan Fulson there, the third place driver from the second race tonight. That is just about it, though, from the Red Bull Ring, Cam. It was a good couple of races, but we move on to Interlagos in a couple of weeks' time, which very much looking forward to. As always, Henrik Lindhoff is really starting to take charge, though, in this championship.
Oh, he is. And if he comes out with another double podium at Interlagos, I think that's basically going to be game, set and match going into the final race. So we'll have to see if he can do that one once again. Should be a lot of fun. A very interesting track at Interlagos as well in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it should be noted that because of, and here it is, Interlagos, 28th of November, catches from 8 p.m. Central European time. Should be noted that pretty much everybody's had a bad race so far, so the fact that drop weeks are in play doesn't really matter. You can still lose everything with a bad race, so make sure you join us again in 2 weeks' time. Between now and then, we'll be back again with another round of the Oval Series, back to the Ovals as well, in 1 week's time, live from 8 p.m. CET once again, so I very much hope to see you then. For now, though, this has been the Bohlin Svenska RaceSpotTV Indy Series in 2024. I've been Ian Leary alongside Cam Roger. Hugo Luis has been behind the cameras. Until we see you in 1 week's time for Oval Series racing again, it's goodbye for now.